What is up, guys? So I've got a Super Quantum deck profile for you here today. Super Quantums, this is a really cool deck. I like it. It's based on obviously like Power Rangers and stuff, which is so cool. I remember I used to watch Power Rangers Wild Force. That was my favorite one when I was younger. But yeah, so this archetype is really cool. And they have an insane boss monster in Great King Magnus. And they also have Megaclops, which can be considered like a secondary boss monster nowadays. But yeah, guys, so I'm going to quickly go through what the different cards do for those of you who aren't familiar with Super Quants. And then in addition, I'll show you a little bit of a comment at the end just to get out that Magnus or Megaclops depending on what you want to do. But yeah, this is a really fun deck to play, guys. I would definitely suggest trying it out. This is a good kind of introduction to combo decks as well. I do like this deck just because it does kind of play itself, and I like decks that do that because they're great for showing my friends how to play this game. But anyway, yeah, so we play all of the Super Quants at 3 because they are all actually amazing monsters. So we'll start with Super Quantal Fairy Alphen. So Alphen, once per turn you can target a Super Quant. All face-up monsters you control become that monster's level. You contribute this card, reveal Super Quants with a different name from your deck. Your opponent picks one for you special from your field and send the rest to the graveyard. You can only use this once per turn. So this is nice. It's just kind of like I don't know what kind of cards to compare this to, but essentially, yeah, it will show. It basically allows you to tutor any of your Super Quants out for free. So a lot of times you are going to be bringing this out. Special summoning is normal summoning to start off with. Will bring this out off 1-for-1, and then using it to bring whatever Super Quant you do not have, which is great. Moving on from that, we have Blue. Blue, when normal special summon, it's going to add a Super Quant from your deck to your hand, and when it's sent to the graveyard, it's going to shuffle free Super Quant cards from your graveyard into the deck. So Blue, just generically good. Our searcher. Green is good when it's normal special to special summon a Super Quant from your hand, and if it's sent to the graveyard, you can discard a Super Quant card to draw a Super Quant card. Red, when it's normal special summon, it's going to add a Super Quant card in your graveyard to your hand, and if it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Super Quant from your graveyard, but it can't activate its effects. And then white, so this is the most unique of all of them, and this so you can special summon this by sending one non-light Super Quant monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. So that means you're going to be sending green, yellow, or red. Then if it's normal special summon, you can send one Super Quant from your deck to the graveyard, and this will just mimic that. It will basically become the same attribute and level as that monster. And then if it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Super Quant or Fairy Alphen from your deck or your graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So yeah, guys, this is a really good card. Obviously, this is going to shoot a Super Quantums to the graveyard. It can mimic them and all of that, and it's just, in general, it does a lot of the job for you. This is going to be one of your main starts, and you nearly want to see this in almost every combo to get out the Magnus. But yeah, then moving on from that, the Super Quant spells and traps we play is we play one Alphen Strike. This is probably one of the worst spells in terms of activating it. You never really want to use its on-field activate. You're mainly using it in the graveyard because it will allow you to search the field spell. So if you control 3 or more Super Quantum monsters with different names, shuffle as many cards your opponent controls into the deck, and then your opponent special summons one monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. That effect, that's one of the worst effects I've read in my life. I mean, I guess if they're playing a really bad deck that I know doesn't have any good extra deck cards, but I just can't think of it. I mean, I don't want to give my opponent a free summon for the extra deck, so I would never use that effect. No, the main thing you're going to be doing this is putting this card into the graveyard and then banishing this and a Fairy Alphen from your graveyard to search your field spell, which is the main way you get into Magnus. Well, the only way you actually get into Magnus, but yeah. So moving on from that, we play one Alphen Call. Research isn't bad. If a Super Quant monster you control destroy a battle, you special summon one Super Quant or Mech Beast XYZ monster from your extra deck, then special summon one Super Quantum monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard that is specifically listed on the XYZ monster in its text but negate its effect. So this isn't a terrible quick play. I like it, but I generally would only play it at 1 just because it's quite slow. It relies on your opponent having battle, so I don't really want to have this at more than 1, and also I can search it if I really need it. Then moving on from that, Super Quantal Mech Ship Magna Carrier. So this allows you to discard one card, then target Super Quant you control and special summon the next deck a Super Quant XYZ with the same attribute as that monster by using it as material, and this counts as an XYZ summon. And so this is what allows you to get Magnus so easily, because it basically means that as long as you have 3 cards in your hand and 3 of these on the field, you can do all 3 XYZ summons for free. And then a secondary condition is you can send this from the field zone to the graveyard, target 3 Super Quantal Mech Beast XYZ monsters with different names, or in you control or in your graveyard, a special summon a Super Quantal Great King Magnus from your extra deck, and if you do, attach targeted monsters and their materials to it. as material. So that's basically how you're going to summon it. You're going to bring out all of these, bring out the XYZ monsters, and then use this effect to bring out Magnus. So yeah, really good field spell spinners. This is the heart and soul of your deck, and you definitely need to have this on the field to do your main combo. If you don't have this on the field, you're not bringing out Magnus, so you definitely do need to see this. Then we have Super Quantum Mech Sword Magnus Layer. Target one Super Quant XYZ monster you control. Equip this card to it. It gains attack equal to its rank times 100. Also, if it attacks a defensive position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. During your battle phase, you can send this to the graveyard. The monster that was equipped with this card can make 3 attacks during each battle phase this turn. Insane. This is just your OTK machine. This facilitates the OTKs with your Magnus. Having said that, even with your weaker ones, it does give them huge amounts of attack as well. I mean, it's going to boost up this one to like 30 something 100, and it can attack 3 times, and it can do piercing, for example. So it is still a really good card, and it will do a lot of damage to you. Then Super Quantum Combination Magna Formation. Your opponent can't target Super Quants with effects during your main phase 1. Target one Super Quant monster you control, attach one other face-up monster you control to it as material. So this is nice just for kind of adding more materials to Magnus in general, and it also does a kind of mini level of protection for your Super Quant card. So that is the main deck Super Quant monsters. Then in addition to that, we have a lot of tech cards. This is again a going first deck. However, we are not always going to win Dash, so we do need to play some cards, especially in a format like this. So I play 3 Nibiru, 3 Ash, and 3 Imperm, just because they're the best hand traps to play at the moment. And then it's just a bunch of tech cards. So I played the Dangers because they're nice for cycling through the deck. 1/1 Reasoning, Card Destruction, Terraforming. Again, they're all good cards. The cards like being in the graveyard as well, which is why Card Destruction is so good. Emergency Teleport will summon out blue for free as well. So that's the main deck. And we play Monster Reborn because it's Monster Reborn. So let's talk about the extra deck. So the extra deck for this is quite tight because you don't really need anything. What's really nice about this deck is they have most of the interruption they need in the main deck, or in their archetype. So you don't need to play things like Nightmare, in my opinion, because you can very easily get out all of their monsters. So let's start off with their first XYZ, which is Grand Pulse. Can't attack unless it has XYZ material, and all of their XYZ monsters, all of the low level ones anyway, have this same clause where they can't attack if they have XYZ materials, and their effects are quick effects if they have the corresponding monster as material. So if the blue one has blue as material, it's a quick effect. Green has green, quick effect. Red has red as quick effect. So the blue will destroy a spell or trap. The green will flip a monster face down. The red will destroy a monster on field, and the white will negate a monster on field. So that's what all of these monsters do. They're all quite nice monsters to have in general. You generally can put 1 or 2 of them on the board even if you can't get to Magnus, and just kind of disrupt your opponent until you do get to him. Then we have Super Quantum Mech King Great Magnus. Wow, this XYZ monster is amazing. So if it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 3 Super Quantum Mech Beast XYZs with different names in your graveyard. This card gains these effects based on the number of materials with different names attached to it. So if it has 2 materials with different names, once per turn in the main phase, you can detach 1 material from this card, shuffle a card from the field into the deck. 4+, it's unaffected by card effects except Super Quant cards, and 6, your opponent cannot add cards from the deck to the hand by card effects. So guys, this is an insane XYZ monster. Firstly, it has non-target, non-destructive removal, which is always amazing, and it only needs 2+ materials from that. It's almost certainly going to be affected, and if you summoned it properly, it should have 6+ materials, which means it's also going to stop your opponent from searching. Really strong XYZ material. And then when it's destroyed or sent to the graveyard anyway, it brings out 3 of these anyway, which means that it's going to be easy to go straight back into if you have your field spell. So it's a really good XYZ monster, really good boss monster. If you see it on the field, you are generally going to win that game. Then moving on from there, we play 1 Selene. Selene isn't too hard to bring out in this deck, and Selene is nice to link climbing into access code, obviously, which is why we play her. 2 of their link monsters. Their link monsters' real purpose is really just facilitating the combos. So what he's going to do is let you draw a card every single time you special summon a Super Quant monster from next deck. So it just means that you're not losing out when you have to discard to get into that. And it also, if a face-up XYZ monster this card points to, destroy a battle card effect, you can special summon a Super Quant from your deck with the same attribute as one of those destroyed monsters. So if blue gets destroyed, I can summon a blue for free, which is just a nice effect to have. Then we play Mega Clops as our secondary boss monster. So there are going to be some situations where you want to have the Mega Clops out instead of the Magnus. One thing as well is that Magnus requires 3 monsters with 3 different XYZ monsters. requires Mega Clops doesn't, it just requires 3 XYZ monsters, and it's very easy to bring out 3 XYZ monsters in this deck, which is why you're going to be playing Mega Clops, because not a lot of decks can actually out Mega Clops either, and that also will give you a lot of the time, to stall, and then you can bring out a Magnus and Mega Clops, and your opponent is definitely not going to be able to beat you if you have them both. Moving into the side deck, there's nothing too special. 3 Evenly, 3 Droplet, 3 Dark Creator, 3 Lightning Storm, 3 Phantasme. Just a general kind of spread against the format. So guys, I'm going to show you a quick combo in terms of getting to either Magnus or Mega Clops. So guys, yeah, as you can see in this combo, one of the things about this deck is it does require quite a lot of cards in your hand to get through to that combo. Got quite lucky here seeing card destruction, which is also nice, but obviously it wasn't 100% necessary, but it's really the Monster Reborn which allowed me to get the green, which allowed me to get another card, and then as a result I've got the field spell on field, I've got 3 cards in my hand, so it's simply a case of discarding cards for the field spell to overlay each of the regular monsters, and then from there we can overlay them all together with the field spells effect to bring up Magnus. And again, they're not going to be able to get over that Magnus. There's nothing they're going to be able to put out because they can't even search. So Magnus is a nice card to have, and even if they do get over it, well, it's just going to come straight back out. So guys, that was my Super Quant deck profile. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and comment on this video. Let me know what you want to see next. I'll be sure to have plenty more deck profiles coming out for you soon. Talk to you all later, guys. Peace.